Welcome back, everyone, here to the Proving Ground. We're up with our first game of the day. I'm Hazel, joined by Joshi and Kangas. Before we get to talk about, all that fun and all the stuff we just got to watch, we gotta have a little bit of fun ourselves because we've got another edition of Speed Run here, where I'm gonna have two clips that I've chosen. Kangas, I know you haven't gotten to have this one because you haven't casted.
Yeah, no,
welcome
it's
to the
so weird to
table
be
here.
on this side of the game show. It's like I hear the intro, I'm like, oh, right, I don't have to
God.
do
What?
it. I can
What
just
is
hang
that?
out.
Oh,
And
I
have
don't
fun.
have to say
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
But I have chosen two clips from the game. Now, we'll have one of the clips brought up. I'll have one of you blindfolded while we play the clip. Now, the other
Okay.
person who is unblindfolded will be describing the clip that is playing, but with the most general descriptive words that you can find. So no specific names, no specific areas, no champion names, objective names, things like that. And then we'll see if you can guess what play it was. We'll watch it back with you and see if you're right. And we'll repeat that back and forth. So,
Can we add another rule? Everything
Uh-oh.
said has to relate to butter in some way.
I think Kelsey will fire us. But
okay.
we will. I think that's like a 99.9% chance. But we're going to go ahead and get to the first one. So, Kangas, we're going to have you on the docket first. We're going to blindfold Joshi.
Okay.
First time.
okay.
And I know, it's crazy. We're going out.
Bam.
Watch
Just
out,
just
watch
because
out.
I
didn't
get
know
questioned about
what
this.
you meant by on the docket first, if I was blindfolded or not, but I was not prepared for
Gotta
this.
keep
Now-
you on your toes. Gotta keep you on your
I
toes.
take
gotta
a quick
make
sip
this
of
clear to
coffee.
Twitch chat, because every single time we do this, people ask, these are in fact not see-through.
Yep.
I love it, and they have a pretty cool effect too. If you want to get
Bam!
show, wham! Oh my
Whoa!
God! All right, so he is blind now; he cannot see. We're gonna go ahead
Incredible.
and bring up the first clip that we have here. And Kangas, I'm gonna give you a couple seconds to get your grounds, get you
Okay.
ready to go, get your base under you, and we're gonna go ahead and let it go.
Okay. All right. I know what's happening here. So roll the clip. Okay, so you know when you're making like a recipe and you're baking something and it
Yeah.
says add like 5 tablespoons of butter, but you forgot to melt it beforehand,
Jesus.
and it's too cold. That's kind of like what's going on right here. You know, you preemptively started the process of baking without having your butter prepared, and then a musical man shows up and slaps you with butter.
You're doing really good, Kangas. You're
All right.
doing great, champ.
I can think of
How'd I do?
I can think of 2 situations that I could possibly
Okay.
be describing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, 50-50. I think we take
The
those.
first
in
one,
PG.
the first possible situation is when Rovix roams top at level 3 and tries to go for a play, but gets spotted out by a ward and then has to leave. And then we see Joey come top and he gets it right. He slaps you with a stick of butter. Okay, that's the first. It's the first possibility. The other one I
a
can
good
think
guess.
of is when they drop the Herald and then he comes over and drops the Temper Fate in order to prevent the Rift Herald from crashing. And
All right.
based
Which
on the
one do you
feedback I've
think it
gotten,
is, Joshi?
I would have to go with the second one.
Alright, no hints whatsoever. You can go ahead and take off your blindfold, my good sir, and we can go ahead and bring up that clip yet again and see if Joshi was correct. Man, you look so different without glasses on.
Wow.
And you were.
Yeah.
As, I didn't know how you were going to get to the finality of that with the way that Kangas was approaching it, but I guess it's
it's
better
the music
than,
man.
like,
The music man.
Yeah, the music
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's better than like Cubby's 3 words that he used a couple times that we've done this, or like those kinds of things. So, Kangas, good job.
All right, we got there.
All right,
We'll
Josie,
see how
the bar's been set. I hope
The
you
bar
realize
has been
what
set.
It's okay.
must
You
do
have to-
now.
This one will also be all according to plan.
Yes, there you go, there you go. All right, Kangas, if you will go ahead
Okay.
and throw on your blindfold for me, we're going to go
So
ahead and
I
get
grabbed this
this,
last minute, which is why we were a
alright,
little
alright,
flustered,
alright.
because this is my blindfold. This is from the folks
my
over at 1
God.
HP. It's like a neck workout thing. I don't know if this is actually
How
gonna
are
work.
you going to
I don't know
blindfold
how I'm
yourself
gonna
with that?
hear
Why don't
everything.
you
You're
get like
looking
a
mute,
rag?
so the audience doesn't get a bunch of like microphone noise.
It still got the microphone noise, let's just say. All right, so we've got we've
It's like
got
the world's
his
worst
blindfold
sombrero.
up. I can still see his eyes. There's not even a blindfold.
I'm ready. Let's
It's
go.
not even a
Send it.
blindfold.
I can't see. Okay. What do you want
Alright,
from
what-
me?
You can't do much,
All right,
apparently.
All right. Yeah, you can't do much. All right, we're gonna go ahead and bring it a second. I'll give you a second to get your grounds, Joshi, and let's see if you got what it takes to get Kangas to the right direction. Let's
Alright.
let it go.
Okay, well we got a music man coming in, smooth like butter, like a criminal undercover. Has to get away from everyone. What is? Oh, and this is where you know how you have the butter, and when you turn it, it separates, and you have the the bottom part of it gets really like thick, and then the top part of it is much more fluid and free form, and you get to see like all kinds of particles moving back and forth. And in fact, you could say that there were 8 of them. 8 parts of the milk happens to be on the top, and then you have the bottom part that is way thicker, and you only got the 2 different layers on the bottom.
I don't even know what to say.
I think I got it. This is when Pretty goes to solo Gorka in the bot lane, and Joey, and like there's just like a 4v4 skirmish in like it was like mid lane, right? Where like no. Yes.
Let's go!
How is that even possible?
Butter!
Oh, it's the key.
Butter!
Butter is the key. Let's go ahead and throw up that second clip again, because somehow, I don't know how we got there, but he's right.
It took me a while to even remember what play this was based on the start of the clip.
Yeah, I would not have gotten it based on the first words you said, but once you said like the separation, like when you're turning butter, I was like, oh yeah,
Okay, we got it.
Oh, I can't believe it's not butter. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. It is butter though, I guess, in that situation.
Smooth.
But hey, we're actually corrected. It just showed a lot of chaos, right? The thing for me in that moment was like, it was literally 3 different fights happening all within like couple seconds of each other, and it was really interesting to see.
All I can say about that bit we just did is, holy cow.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
We're gonna let that one sit right now.
Wait, I didn't.
Magical's in the Discord. Can we like bring him in? Like,
I have to do. Okay, here. This is. That was too good of a joke. I gotta
Too
dip.
good.
Oh my god, I can still see him.
I can still see you have the after image coming through.
Oh no, it's just the after image.
It's the after image.
Yeah,
it's not the real image.
You can very clearly see your bald head even when you're not there. But
we'll never shake him. No, good stuff on speedrun though. It was a lot of fun.
Hold on, I just realized
yeah,
we're like a gradient from one side to the other. It's like in this direction, right? You have hair up here. There we go. And then we have all of it, and then we go over here, and it's only in the bottom half.
He's gonna go get the wig.
Oh,
He's
no.
gonna go get the wig.
We can leave you out of this one, Mazel.
Oh
But-
my goodness.
And from what we were seeing, right, I expected this to be a relatively close game. But everything that Taco Gaming tried to do early on just kind of got shut down, right? Rovix on the Janna was not able to be as effective roaming as the Bard was, and that should have been to be expected, right? Like, Janna is not as good of a roaming character as the Bard is, and it's part of why we've been seeing Rovix play so much Pyke.
What I want to say though is, you guys highlighted in the cast, especially when we were kind of wrapping things up, Taco Gaming did not stray away from what we know and love from them, right? It was trying to get some early game focus for themselves. It just didn't go their way, and that's some of the macro decision making in the later game that definitely came back to haunt them, Joshi.
Yeah, and it's definitely a position where, I mean, Rovix said it. If their first couple plays don't go well, they don't necessarily have a great way to play the quote-unquote standard part of the game later on. And while Immortals, relative to a lot of the academy teams, hasn't been great, a lot of this standard gameplay that we look at, where you group up around the Dragons and the Rift Heralds, and you just go for these big fights, you try and get things set up so that you can force your opponents into these choke points. It was clearly better than what Taco Gaming was able to do, and that's one of the big differences we've been seeing is I feel as though our academy teams feel as though they can do whatever they want because a lot of the amateur teams haven't been pressuring them in the right ways.
I want to add on to that, since I am in fact back, everybody. I feel like Taco Gaming, we got to this point where they just kept trying to make things happen over and over again. And Immortals, it goes back to a point you had said about Pretty, but I think Immortals as a whole also have this general trend where they could punish mistakes pretty well. And Taco Gaming, they had a lot of engages that weren't necessarily the proper engages, not the right setup, not the best play to go for. So, obviously, Immortals Academy were able to capitalize on that. Also, Joshi, will you love me now?
I always love you.
He's got the most hair out of all of us.
Yeah.
I
Where's
love
your
you
gradient
regardless of how much hair
Joshi?
you have.
Is that magical? It's just something magical.
Can we get
That's what
magic?
magical's gonna look
Yeah,
like.
let's just change the
Magical,
name.
he grows a lot of facial hair all of
No,
a
but
sudden.
he bleached his hair like he needs to. Because
True.
of the
I don't know if it's
bets.
happened yet.
Wait. Here's my magical impression. Quack. Did I do it? Was that good?
Spot on,
Really-
spot on.
All right.
Hey,
Perfect.
you're
We'll
winning,
send it over to
champ. You're
Alex.
winning. Yeah. In all actuality,
I'm gonna
though,
take this off. It's too itchy.
Yeah, please do. Please do. It's distracting. But
There we go.
anyways, I want to talk a little bit more about Taco Gaming because I want to look ahead, right? And we got to see some of the things that we were talking about before the game actually started for Taco Gaming, but I also want to look at now, checking in after the first game and seeing what they can really do to kind of pull it back coming into game 2 here, Joshi.
Yeah. I gotta say, while I was excited about the Varus when it was picked, I didn't think it was a particularly strong pick, right? It's something where if you can't play it as the AP, Varus has not been the most exciting champion to play recently, and I want to give Gorka a little bit more activity a bit later on in the game, right? To quote Kelsey about how she feels about a lot of AD carries, I want Gorka to be on an AD carry that can just Kaisa all over them, right? Just jump in, throw out all your damage, and call
Is that
it
what
good.
we call it?
That's what Kelsey has been calling it, and I feel like Gorka, when we first saw him on teams like Barrage and Resolve, that's where he was having a whole lot of success with, is his ability to just go in and just dump his load.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
All
know,
over
butter
them.
his toast.
So,
butter his
butter-
toast, as it were.
Yes, the toast. That's the word I thought you were going to
Yep.
end that with.
That is the word. Kangas,
Mhm.
who's stepping up in this game for Taco Gaming?
Okay, if we go back to who did best in game number 1, I again want to give props and credit to Lawrence as a player who was finding an individual lead for himself. It felt like they tried to transition into playing around Lawrence with things like the early Rift Herald, then dropping the Herald, but Joey on the Bard kind of stopped them. Joey was just out roaming Rovex. In the two biggest instances where level 3 Rovex goes top, just spotted out by wards, then Joey's there, gets a kill. Then for that Herald play, Joey just stops the whole thing. I think that trying to play through Lawrence is a good start, but you need to control Joey a little bit more. I don't know, maybe draft something that can punish the Bard a little bit harder, or try and play to bot side if Joey's going to be roaming all over the place, because you can just try and heavily punish a Sivir who was alone in lane for like 50% of the first 10 minutes of that game.
Well, hey, we'll see who's getting Kaisa all over themselves as we're going to be getting the champ select here. Kangas and
tried to get us off of
Joshi,
that.
take it away.
All
Too
right,
late.
well, here we are.
There's lots of
Right
meanings
on
of
back.
butter, Kangas. I'm just saying, like, the Belveth release video, that was pretty exciting, too. But anyway, we gotta look a little bit more towards the rest of the game. Kangas, I'm gonna let you think on that one for a little while. One of the big things that I was looking at with Taco Gaming's first draft that I was not quite as excited about was I didn't feel that they had any face checkers. They didn't have great ways to get engage starters. So much pressure being put onto Shochi in particular. And you had like the Chain of Corruption. You had Lawrence who could jump in, yes, but these are all kind of secondary engage tools, right? They're not the kind of tools that you can use to get on top of the key targets. And I feel that Taco Gaming was missing all of the ways that they needed to make some of these early game cheese plays happen.
It felt like we never saw their composition actually pull off the big, okay, Varus throw out a Chain of Corruption. Have Shochi go in on the Lissandra and find a pick on a target.
Yes.
It was always Immortals finding stuff onto them. But here we go. We're back to the Lissandra, and we have the Pike for Rovex.
Yeah, this has definitely been something that Rovex has been playing a lot throughout the circuit qualifiers, right? We've seen him play more of this champion than anything that he's played thus far, and this is the champion that you look at in order to make these crazy cheese plays across the map, right? You are looking to try and snowball the game. You gotta find a bunch of these plays early on, and even though Pike doesn't have as much goal giving out to the rest of the team, it's the kind of character that can move around the map, can interact with mid and top lane very proactively, and is also something that has some fallback mechanisms. So you can come back if you just get chain ults over and over again.
You can really look for picks and also have that impact when you have something like Lissandra to set you up, because Lissandra does enough burst damage onto squishy members like a Talia, where then Pike can come in and finish it up, and boom, your resets are already off into the races. So Immortals go for a much tankier second two champs here. The Nautilus, much beefier health bar. The Poppy can build some of that armor and also will just have more resistances and health in general.
Yeah, and Immortals, they've come up with a pretty standard draft overall, right? This pod has been rising in popularity across the world. Talia has been Pretty's most played and most successful character so far throughout the split. And it feels as though Immortals is getting everything they could possibly ask for, but this is the cheese that Taco Gaming was talking about. We get to see City Witty on the new note. This is something they had a lot of success with going up against 100 Thieves next in the last circuit qualifiers finals, and they have all this crowd control. They have ways to get play started in the first part of the game. So if Taco Gaming is going to take a game off of Immortals, it's gotta be this one with this kind of draft. This is what this entire team has been building up for this entire split.
I know that you just gave all the reference and that it's not a surprise pick, but my mind just keeps thinking of episode 2 of Players. If you know, you know. They're just locking in whatever they feel like at this point right here. Yeah, Joshi hasn't even seen it yet.
I haven't seen it.
Can't believe it. I just started last night, so I'm also very behind. But it's exciting driving Taco Gaming, and this is what we've been prepping everybody for going into this series. Taco Gaming do not play your,
they're not standard. They're not disciplined in their own words.
Yeah. This ain't your family's League of Legends, everybody. This is going out on a Friday night kind of League of Legends, if you know what I'm talking about. And now they get to ban away some of these other things like Kaisen all over them. That's off the table right now.
True.
Taco Gaming focusing on the bot lane champ pool so far.
Yeah, and Samir taken off the table as well. Bomb's champion pool going to be pretty limited here at this point, but a lot of AD carries and marksmen taken off the table. Akshan actually targeted towards Lawrence up in the top lane. It has been one of the few champions who's played more than once in the circle qualifiers thus far. And at this point, we kind of start asking, what is it that Lawrence is going to be playing? Because Gorka going back to tried and true, something he's played plenty of times. And even this champion, right, while we think of it as not the same kind of character as a lot of the others, I feel as Kai'Sa's all over people too. You Gale Force forward, you ult them, and suddenly they're dead, right? That's just kind of how you do it. You blow all your damage in one single rotation and hope they die.
All right, you said damage.
Damage.
I will say though, I don't think of Aphelios as a AD carry that I feel very comfortable being left alone, depending on the support and AD carry matchup. Nautilus is very strong at punishing a pike roam. Misfortune will just blow you up. So that means it's going to be much harder for Robex to find these windows where he can actually get effective roams off.
Yeah, and the level 6 wake up coming out from both Arrow and Joey creates a ton of pressure against Gorka if Rovex is in the lane. Even if Rovex is in the lane,
he can't do much to stop it,
he can't do much. Like,
yeah.
he could try and get the stun off, he could try and get the hook off, but they're both rather slow. That's part of why they're so powerful. But the gangplank going right on back over for Vital, and Lauren's going to be going in with the Olaf in order to try and create a lot of pressure there. The one thing I really like about Taco Gaming's draft is they don't have a whole lot of dashes that are stoppable by Poppy, right? Realistically, you're only looking at Gale Force and Pike Dash, and I think that's it in terms of things that the Steadfast Presence actually locks down. And so Taco Gaming has a lot of ways to try and circumvent the play that's coming out from Poppy and Talia.
The Olaf versus the Gangplank matchup is one that I think is going to draw a lot of eyes to now. So observers, pay attention, because I feel like Lawrence is going to go very aggressive here. The only thing that I would have liked maybe more than this is something like the Shyvana. I don't know if Lawrence has been practicing that, but we saw in Academy players like Surdy showing us how dominant that can be in lane against a Gangplank. But Olaf, similar principle, right? Similar thought process here is you have auto attack cancel, you can kill the barrels quick, and also just chase down the Gangplank. Like, what's he going to do to stop you realistically?
That's going to be the big thing for this Olaf and for Lawrence in general, right? There's lots of champions that are good into the Gangplank. The Olaf is a less common thought of counterpick, and so now as we already load onto the Rift, we got to see a lot of pressure coming out from the side of Taco Gaming. They say they go for these cheese plays early on. They need to cheese the cheesers of Academy. They want to try and get through.
Game 2 on the Rift. Taco Gaming down in the series, but not out in the upper bracket yet. Portal Progressive hoping to make quick work of their upper bracket run. Game 2 on the table. I'm liking what Taco Gaming have brought to the table.
Yep, it's definitely Gouda. But I also have to remind everybody that we saw a near perfect game coming out in game 1 of, I believe it was Dignitas versus AoE yesterday, or earlier this week, whichever one it was. I think it was yesterday. It all kind of blurs together when you have so many League of Legends games coming at the same time, right? But in the second game, it was a lot closer. We got to see the amateur teams fire back, and even in the upset of Ginger Turmeric versus 100 Thieves Academy, it wasn't about game 1. It was about game 2. Can the amateur squad bounce back? Do they have the mental resilience to actually make this happen? Taco Gaming, this says to me that they are putting all their chips on the table. They're pushing all in on this game. And if they're going to come back, has to start here.
Yeah, this is a rough start. Ooh, actually,
He just walks up?
A lot of respect. Other people walked up. He on in onto Joey. He doesn't have the plating. Damage. That's actually a one trade by Taco. I was surprised. I thought that Arrow and Joey would go all in on Robix there and actually look to kill.
Yeah, it turns out that having the all of your HP back button coming in from Robux is very powerful because Joey does not get to heal nearly as much. But also worth pointing out that with potions having less potency on the 11-14 patch, the pressure that comes through is going to stick quite a bit harder. And that's part of why this Misfortune Comet build has become more popular, is you can just push a lot of characters out because they can't sustain through it. But Pike can. Pike's sustain hasn't been changed.
But Arrow needs to focus on Gorica. That's what I'm hearing from that statement. If you land the poke onto the Aphelios, doesn't matter if the Pike finds a really good engage. The Aphelios might not want to walk forward because if you're half health, you're not getting that all in anymore. So eyes on Gorica's health bar and how he wants to play out the phase as they do shove in. Interesting to see Joey on the Nautilus with the Lunar Damage I actually have to see this actually well.
Yeah, it has become a little bit more popular recently, especially if you want to be able to counter roam, right? If you want to be able to get out of the lane and follow the Rovix around, this is an easy way to do it. But at the same time, look at where Shochi is. Look at where City Witty has already moved. They are looking to try and make a play on the bottom side of the map, and he's just hovering here, firstly to try and pick up the crab, but also to see if Immortals are going to overextend so he can roll the biggest snowball ever down there.
Full clear from Chad in the top lane. Not something we always expect from him. They drop the ward. They see that red buff is up. Actually, went from red to top, I had to guess. But here we go. The snowball's coming in here. Arrow, Joey. How fast do you react?
Hello!
Over it. On the cleanse immediately from Arrow. Joey flashes away, hooks into the wall to get out. But that is 3 summoners down.
Already coming through. Arrow and Joey forced in a very uncomfortable spot, and look how much time City actually spent trying to make that play happen. That's something we normally attribute to Chad, but this time City Witty creating that pressure. Gorka and Robix trying to get this wave under, and they want to make sure that Arrow and Joey can't farm most of it. Oh, he's just going right back.
Another snowball in the mid lane. Pretty flashes too. City Witty has gotten 3 flashes in the span of 60 seconds off of back-to-back ganks.
Dude, I love this kind of play coming out from junglers, right? Because there are very few laners who respect it. And this is just something true across the board. This is true in your own solo queue games. If you're a jungler and you go from mid lane to top lane after just like doing the crab and immediately ganking, you're going to get a lot of flashes because people don't expect you to do that. They're like, oh, he wasted a lot of time. He's going to go back and clear out all of his camps, right? No. No. I'm here to kill you, bro. That's all that you really need to do. City Witty is still just now starting to clear out camps. A lot of the farm he's already gotten has actually come from the lanes, and he's a little bit behind where Chad is, but as you said, 3 flashes gives him 3 targets.
And especially the flash off of Arrow and the cleanse off of Arrow. Robux didn't pop Ignite. That means that there is a potential kill angle down there. Meanwhile, Lawrence, he's kind of low in health, but he's actually done a really good job of getting ahead in CS. Even has the Cole. I didn't even spot that right away. He got an early cheater recall, but Chad's here. Is this a dive angle? Lawrence is very low in health already. Vital's doing a good job of chunking him out, but I think he'll be safe.
Yeah, look at City, though, running down bottom lane. We'll see how big the snowball is.
He's just hovering around the Gromp as we look in the mini-map, but Chad's still here onto Lawrence. Vital pushing in the wave. Lawrence pops the ghost. He sees Chad, says, all right, I gotta fight my way out of this one. Vital's tanking the turret, but Chad doesn't have the damage to get the kill. One more parlay. Almost enough, but Lawrence, he focuses the wave and survives the game.
Well played coming through from Lawrence. I've been very impressed so far with his ability to play this top lane going up against Vital, right? It's definitely been a position where we've been looking at Vital as a player who, like you called out, went directly from solo queue into the academy space. Typically, he would be on teams like Taco Gaming at this time around, but so far, it's been Lawrence who's been getting the better of him.
Lawrence, 2 games in a row now, impressing me with this top lane 1v1 performance against Vital. but we also want to keep our eyes still on this bottom lane. The reason why Joey and Arrow are so scared right now, the wave's semi-frozen. It will slow push out here, but Arrow with no sums has to play very respectfully.
Yeah, and here we go. Another of the biggest snowball.
Here we go. Stun lands onto Joey. He gets onto the wall. The snowball lands. That's a knockup. That's the damage. Joey's down. First blood to Gorica. Can Rovex get out? Arrow with the auto attacks has enough damage, and Shad was there hovering. Gorica's got a full wave to fight in, though, in a 1v2 situation. Pretty's coming in. Can Gorica get one more kill? Pulled back by the seismic shove. Looked like Pretty was going to give the kill to Arrow, but will take it himself. And a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Immortals.
Good stuff coming out from Immortals, right? We don't think of Chad as the control jungler very often, as the person who's responding to plays. Typically, he's the one making them in the first place, but preventing City's play from coming through has been so good here this game thus far. Remember, Nunu, he's kind of a crap tank, right? He does not scale very well. He's the kind of character that you really need to find some of these big plays.
Joey going mid right now. Shochi in trouble, but has the backup of Rovex too, so nobody's going to go down.
Nobody goes down. So City, right, he spent a lot of time coming out down into the bottom lane. That's his second gank, and to get one kill for it. But again, I gotta give props to Joey on the same time, because he was able to land that hook onto the wall. He's able to create enough space even after all the crowd control that gets dumped on them from Taco Gaming. And so far, I feel like Joey and Lawrence have kind of been our standout performers thus far today.
I've been loving Joey's play in the second half of the split as well. I know that Immortals Academy overall haven't had the most impressive showing in terms of their standings finish, but Joey at an individual level is playing pretty much the top of his career in League of Legends gameplay. He's been around for a while. You might recognize the name. Yeah, he's played. He was the support substitute at, MSI for Team Liquid that one time. Shochi now in trouble here. Dodges out on the Nautilus hook. Has the ultimate for himself, but I don't think Rovex can save him. He flashes away. Joey flashes forward, gets to the root, trying to get that last tick of damage, but Shochi is out. Rovex playing bodyguard.
Good job from Rovex to actually get him out, but it might be too much of a tempo loss. They might have to reset too many members, not have the ability to make plays on the map. And exactly that, you're seeing IMT, they're running down towards the dragon. They're going to be able to get another dragon. Remember, the only one that Taco Gaming got in the previous game was the one that they got because Chad died. The crazy fight, the one moment we were like, this might be Taco's way back into the game. But so far, City, he wants to try and make things happen. He's not giving up just quite yet, and he has to continue making these psychopathic ganks. He needs to continue going for crazy things, because he knows he's going to get outscaled.
In order to defeat Chad, you must think.
You must think like Chad.
Become the psychopath as they trade objectives. The Rift Herald for the Dragon. I do like this for Taco Gaming if they try and play with it early. Get one of their lanes ahead with a lot of plates, maybe even a turret. If you look at somebody like Lawrence and take away Vital's turret, it makes it pretty tough for Vital to actually walk forward. Then you'll have a lot of control over the top half of the map. Or if you want to go for the bottom one instead, you can try and control those dragons. Either way, it gives Taco Gaming options.
I would love to put Lawrence in a really long lane, right? You put Vital in a position where he has to run back to his second turret, and the Stride Breaker coming through from Lawrence, that would make it very, very difficult for Vital to do anything in the rest of this game, at least until he has a couple items underneath his belt. Yeah, there you go.
Imagine that last Undertow lands. Vital might even just have to back, which there's a chance he does anyway. They were pinging out, hey, Shochi's not in lane, so he'll just throw out the Gangplank ultimate, try and clear the wave. Lawrence will get one more plate for himself. That is a total of 2 plates and a 10 CS lead. That's almost 2 full waves.
So, as Lawrence gets his next item completed, I believe instead of the Stride Breaker like I was hoping for, we're probably going to get a Gourd Drinker probably coming out from Lawrence from this position, which does give him a lot more ability to stand in a bunch of melee champions, but it doesn't allow him to play the side lane nearly as effectively. And so, Taco Gaming, they are still coming out with a small gold lead at this point, right? So much of that has been based off the fact that Lawrence has been having a good time top lane and that Rovex has been having some decent roams and a little bit more success on his pipe than he did on the Janna.
But I do like Immortals' progressive scaling options here. Vital, he's obviously with the Rune choice and also the build path here, he will just keep scaling up, and he hasn't given up that much yet. I mean, 2 plates and basically a wave of CS. That's not a terrible lane for a Gangplank to walk away from. He still will have a lot of scaling as another snowball comes in here. I don't think it'll land onto anybody. So I'm looking at Taco Gaming. thinking, what do they do next? Where can they put their attention next?
Well, it depends on where they want to go with this Rift Herald. I would really like it to go top lane, as we said, open up the long lane. And oh, he is going to be going for the Stride Breaker, so you can try and run down Vital a bit later on, but not going to be dropping the Rift Herald just quite yet. City instead going to be resetting on the map. And while we kind of wait for the next opportunity for these guys to play, I kind of want to take another look back at how we've actually been seeing Taco Gaming and Immortals interact, because we got to remember that Shoji was playing for the Immortals roster as a substitute. He was signed to their team earlier on in June. We were kind of expecting him to come in for Pretty at some point.
Obviously Pretty, though, looking for his own opportunities, but Shoshi says, hey, what's
Remember
up,
that?
buddy?
Remember
I got
me?
a jungler with me. Oh,
me
Chad
too.
sniping the keeper's verdict. Nicely aimed.
There you go. I got a jungler too, and
Oh,
in
wait a
the
minute.
bottom lane, a 2v2 kill. Would you look at that? Both ultimates used, Rovex being dead. Wonder what happens.
Yeah, Gorka also low in health bar, use the heal. That is the power of the Nautilus Misfortune combo. I don't even think we need a replay to understand what happened down there. City Witty, he finds Vital very low, no flash. Lawrence with the undertow just gets the snipe, and here's that long lane that you were hoping for, Joshi.
Yeah, that's the confidence getting too coming through from City, just saying, ha. Well, he's stuck here, and the top lane is like, oh, I guess I never
Pretty
needed
full
you.
combo. Might just kill him, might just kill Lawrence straight up. Bit of a shield comes through. Lawrence barely survives. Pretty doesn't have... Oh, he does have the ultimate. He might chase down right now. Weaver's wall pops. City Witty trying to block it, but Pretty gets over the Nunu. And now with Chad's backup, City Witty could be in some trouble here. Pulled right back with a seismic shove and interrupted in the ultimate channeling. Even Joey wants to help out, won't get the assist, but Immortals Progressive will punish every overstep that you make.
There we go. It's not often that we think of Immortals as a team that is going to be responding to plays across the board. But going up against Taco Gaming, it has definitely been the way that they have been playing. They have stopped so much of City's potential aggression, and City is starting to fall very behind.
This is what I was saying before. Lissandra's burst damage can get a lot of people in range for Pyke's combo to then execute them, but
yeah,
Vital not in a rough position. He does have the oranges, so it's kind of tough to get on top of the gangplank.
But at the same time, Taco Gaming, they are here first. They are coming down to the next dragon. The teleport is going to be coming through from Lawrence fairly soon, or at least upgrading, so he can choose to be here. Remember, Taco Gaming, they only got one dragon last time around, but they aren't setting up for this one. Instead, it looks like they're going to be giving up their position in order to try and get a little bit more gold now, rather than trying to actually pick up the next dragon.
I think they want to get lane priority first. Mid lane's pushing in, bot lane's pushing in. It's League of Legends 101 for the amateur teams. Go to your wave, make sure it's not under your turret, and then walk into the dragon.
Yeah,
but you're right in
Money
that
good.
now Immortals Progressive have the inside track.
And so it feels as though it might be a little bit too
Teleport.
late. Taco Gaming, the
Nope,
teleport
Lawrence
comes
is going
through.
for it. He doesn't have the Ghost, but he does have the Ragnarok teleport answered by Vital. Lawrence could be in trouble right now. He's just popped immediately at the start of the fight. As City Witty now trying to get away. Rovax is there. Gorka's not outputting any damage, though. They don't have their Aphelios. Throws out the ultimate. Vital executed by Rovax just at the tip, but Gorka wears the peel. There is none. Shoshi goes in. Joey! The stopwatch saving him from Rovex's resets. That was a precarious position, but that just saved the play for Immortals Progressive. They will get this dragon, and they might even get Rovex. No, he will get back in time, but what a team fight.
Crazy play coming through from Taco Gaming. They got to try and make things happen, but they were too desynced, right? We talked about how they gave up so much pressure on the map in order to get their waves pushing, which is great, but they needed to do that in the first place. And so far, Immortals, they take control. They abuse the fact that Shochi is still in the mid lane, that Gorka is still coming back from base before the fight even happens. And I feel as though we might be looking towards the end of the game already, Kingus. We had such a close game for so long, and even though it's only a 2,000 gold lead, we're at the part of the game where we can no longer expect Nunu to be a reliable frontline source. You can no longer really expect that Gorka will be able to do the damage for quite a while Misfortune is really coming to her own.
Kind of hitting that power trough, as we call it here for the Aphelios. Yeah, once he gets a couple more items, he's going to do a lot, but at this point,
got some time.
what can you expect from him? Gale Force at least completed. They still have that pick potential in things like the Pike, the Lysandra, the Snowballs, as well as the Gale Force Gravitum. I think Taco Gaming, they need to stop focusing on objectives, start focusing on finding people out of position, setting up control. You find members as they're rotating towards different waves, different objectives, and then go for the picks, things like this, like Shochi. If Arrow walks forward, I mean, there's no reason for him to, but if he walks forward, that could be a kill. And now they're invading the top jungle, but there's nobody from Immortals Progressive there, and Vital's actually getting a big push in the bot lane for this.
Vital, well, he hasn't necessarily been a huge part of their success thus far. We have been seeing that Vital has had some decent barrels, right? He's showing some mechanics on this champion that we were hoping we would be seeing this entire time. And because so much of the pressure on the rest of the map has been nullified by players like Chad, it allows Vital, who's been struggling against Lawrence in both games thus far, to scale into the game and become a much bigger part later on. And that's one of the things that are scary. Vital's team fighting has always been fine.
Ooh. Okay, Rovex gets a pull over the wall onto Arrow, but now Shochi's all isolated, all alone, and just dies. Had the ultimate, had the flash, not even going to use them.
Yeah, there you go. Great discipline coming through from Arrow. But this is one of the things that we have been looking at is Lawrence dives.
Okay, you just go for the 1v1 under turret. He's taking a lot of shots. Vital finally falls. Lawrence lives! Oh, the Triumph proc saving his life right there, but it's not for very long. Joey and Arrow are here, and that should be a kill gifted to the Misfortune.
Good job from Joey, making sure he gives it over to the correct player at the end of it. But that's the power that Lawrence has had. He needs to make these kind of plays if he wants to try and get his team back in. Not every time is Immortal going to be in a position to try and respond to the play. I like what I'm seeing from Lawrence thus far. But we also got to look at how the rest of the map has kind of falling apart at the same time. They're not even able to get the mid lane wave in. They're not going to be able to get realistic damage on the mid lane turret. At the same time, the top lane turret falls as Pretty now 6-0, completely uncontested in the top side of the map because Shochi can't respond to him. He needs somebody else to actually bring more damage and to be able to take Pretty down.
And this is the mark of a lot of the amateur teams so far this Proving Grounds. You mentioned it in the game one that we just saw before this. Amateur teams oftentimes drop waves to side lanes. They drop entire turrets in side lanes because they're not necessarily set up and prepared to go for a play when they're sacrificing something else, and then they just lose out around the map, and that's what Immortals Academy is showing us right now. They get a 1-for-1 bot lane. They have 2 members go down there to equalize it, but they still get the top turret somehow because Pretty is focused on the macro play.
And now Pretty, he's got the Rabadons completed. He does a ton of damage on this Taliyah. I know that Smax was talking yesterday about how he thought a couple Taliyah players were allergic to doing damage. Pretty is not going to have that same problem. He's going to be doing so much damage. He can catch out all these members, and not even City Witty, the quote-unquote tank, is going to be able to survive all the damage that he puts out. And when Pretty is on this Taliyah, he's had his best games of the split so far. He is so good with the seismic shoves. He's consistent. I remember counting one time in one of the games where he had 14 kills. He landed 7 of them in a row, killing people on 4 of them.
Wow. That is impressive stat lines right there. Immortals Progressive, they were grouped up as 4, looking for their own picks. They know if they're isolated, that's when they're weak, but if we group up and we just force the Herald, we can take a tier 2.
Yeah.
They're pushing an inhibitor turret. This forces Taco Gaming to walk in. City Witty doesn't land the engage, but dodges out on Joey's here. Chad just knocking away the damage. Shochi getting bursted down. Rubik's on the back line, but he's down too. Arrow packs too big of a punch too quickly, and now Lawrence has no backup, no teammates around, and City Witty just walks forward, presses R, and dies. Immortals Progressive making quick work of Taco Gaming in game 2, 20 minutes on the clock, and they already have an exposed inhibitor.
And Joey doing such a good job at defending his AD carry. There is a couple worrying moments in that team fight for Immortals to actually drop some of their players. But now, as you said, they're going to be picking up the Baron buff. They already have Pretty roaming up. He's got an extra smite. So if Chad's wasn't enough, you have another one here. And Shochi has no ultimate.
He can completely... Oh, he didn't take it. Oh, I know he doesn't have the ultimate, but I think he still could have gotten at least a kill right there.
You need to try.
You got to go for stuff like that. When you're this far behind, I don't think that you're going to have another opportunity to really come back, but maybe it's a fool's bargain either way. Very low
Yeah.
chance of pulling off something like that. So Taco Gaming instead set up for the Dragon. They will try and deny the soul from Immortals Progressive. And I don't think Immortals are too concerned about that because they might just be able to end the game with this Baron.
Yeah, you can have this little bit. We already got the top of the cream. We already got everything we wanted as we've been turning this entire game. And while you get, you know, some of the dregs out of the bottom of the barrel, it feels as though Immortals have so much more control on the map. Vital going to be taking down almost this entire turret on a single wave as everybody on Immortals tries to create some pressure. And look, they also have Pretty just chilling in the mid lane, making sure that Taco Gaming can't counter push in the middle.
Whipping up a storm right now. Immortals Progressive pushing in 2 different lanes with these Baron empowered minions. And Tiger Gaming had 2 members in the bottom river. Like, they are not prepared to answer this. Again, they're slower to the play, looking for picks where there's no reason for Immortals Academy players to be. And Immortals Progressive say, all right, let's just stay grouped up. If they don't hard force onto us, then we can just win out by sieging. Now Lawrence gets hit by the dredge line, running forward, has a lot of health, but not enough. But there we go! Shoji blows up Arrow. That's the combo that they needed. Taco Gaming finally finding something. 1-for-1 trade. They will take that. Oh, and Rovex! Oh, the hero play onto Joey. Chad in trouble as well. Rovex has the reset. He's waiting for the keeper's to go down, and there we go. Steadfast presence, not allowing him, but Vital's barrels do so much damage. He uses the Prowler's Claw forward, gets the kill on the Gorica, and now Shochi trying to get back to his base, save the turret if he can, and he cannot. Vital and Pretty do not push for more, but that is another exposed inhibitor, and the minions took the mid one.
It feels so much like the previous game, Kangas, right? We had a spot there where Immortals, it was a bit tenuous. It didn't look as though they were playing it completely clean, but it ultimately doesn't matter, right? They still get the objectives that they actually came for. They still have the huge gold lead. They still have it much better scaling composition than Taco Gaming. I'm sorry, there's like 2 people out there who understand why I'm making this mistake.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have no idea, but Rafa would understand. There's a couple people who might be watching. Hello, FOF friends. But it is just a spot where they're trying to make plays and it's just not happening. Rovex had an opportunity to try and step up. He actually had a fantastic opportunity, not just in the most recent fight, but in the fight before that, where he stopped most of Arrow's ultimate. Lawrence has had a couple moments of brilliance, but unfortunately, City Witty has not been able to make these plays work. Immortals has been so ready for all of the cheese that Taco Gaming throws their way.
And now Lawrence could just get picked again. He has the Ragnarok. He's not popping it because he knows he probably dies if he loses all that extra armor right there, and he barely lives regardless. Now has to go back, heal up. Means that Immortals Progressive can push in on this bottom side of the map. There's only 1 more turret outside of the Nexus turrets remaining. Oh, that's a TP going deep. Whose is it? Looks like Lawrence. I think Lawrence is going for the Hail Mary play right now. Shochi, though, not ready for it. He has to self-ult. Now Chad into the wall. The Weavers will set up. Oh, that was incredible from Pretty and Chad, but Lawrence, they did not expect him to show up behind. Arrow could be in trouble right now. They don't have the CC to stop it. Lawrence takes him down. Rovex, oh, he didn't get the reset. Death from below did not get the kill, and that's on cooldown now. That is disaster for Taco Gaming, as this was their Hail Mary play. Immortals Progressive find Taco Gaming's top laner in the bottom lane and will eliminate him, meaning it's Gorica and Rovex. They gotta stand the line, hold the line. Do not let Immortals Progressive push his wave onto the Nexus turrets.
And now Immortals, as they come through, this was one of the teams that we were hoping Amateur would be able to best. This is a team that really struggled throughout the regular season, but they are still knocking on the door.
Okay.
What can you do?
Here
Not
we go.
much.
Rovex just goes in. Shoshi actually was the one that went in there. Rovex now behind Gorica. You gotta output that damage. How much can he get done? Gets 1 kill. Pretty's out of the fight. City Witty's still alive, but like you said, not a front line for very long. Gorica, nobody to stand between him and 3 members of Immortals Progressive. Run, Gorica, run! Chad with a smite slow will find the kill, and it's Joey that's giving it. Wyla, Husio, it's Joey time, baby! As Immortals Progressive will claim Game 2 with this final push. Lawrence cannot do much to stop it. Maybe kills Vital, does get the kill, but he goes down. Rovex and Shoji are back up. Wait a minute, is this the end of the game? I actually don't know if Immortals Progressive will close it out right now. Shoji can get in. They're very low
They're
health
so
bars
low.
outside of Immortals. Arrow, can he stay alive? He goes
City's
for it to
up.
get the damage onto Shochi, but here's City Witty coming through. Shochi has the damage with the follow-up. Rovix assassinates the AD carry, and now chasing down Chad, has the
He's
reset.
so fast.
Bone Skewer. Oh, it lands. Wait, Chad's pulled back. He's just too fast.
So
Okay,
fast, man.
we got another minute of the game.
All right, congratulations to Taco Gaming. You will, in fact, drag this game out about another minute or so, but when Immortals, they have all their members back up, I think we're about to see the end of it. Immortals, they had such a big turnaround from what we've been seeing, right? They were able to take down DK Crew earlier in the week. Now they're going up against Taco Gaming, a much tougher opponent, and they're still just taking them down so incredibly easily. Remember, Immortals is a team that was able to make top 4 at Proving Grounds last split after, again, having a mediocre regular season. This is a team that seems to be turning up at the right time for Proving Grounds. Everybody's doing quite well, and Pretty, yet again, having an incredible performance on Talia.
Going into that fight, our producers confirmed he was 13-0 and 11 between the 2 games. Hey, he's died once, sure. Hopefully we can get an update as to what his KDA total is right now, but still, incredible performance from Pretty. The Azir into the Talia, showing us why the Immortals style works, why the Academy style in general does work. Yeah. And I think Taco Gaming are getting their first lesson here. It's like, all right, our crazy, zany, wacky version of playing League of Legends works well in Amateur, but this is Academy, baby. This is Immortals Progressive.
And here we come. They are progressively getting better. And now the game should end. They have no Nexus turrets.
The Weaver's wall. Gork has to flash over it. Yeah, if you're stuck on the other side of the wall, you're just dead. And Shochi, speaking of, does not even have a health bar. Gorka trying to position well enough in this fight. Avoid the Misfortune ultimate. Good start so far for Lawrence. He gets 1, but they just can't do damage to Chad. Gorka flashed on arrows, got the damage. Says, hey, have you seen players on Paramount Plus? I was featured in it. Also, I'm pretty good at League of Legends, too. And Immortals Progressive take game 2.
Yeah, Arrow at the very end, showcasing he is, in fact, the big cheese here in this game. You gotta put some respect on his name, but Immortals, they turned that around. They made it look easy. I thought this was gonna be one of the best opportunities for Amateur to pick up games.
Yeah.
And now, that hope has been dashed pretty heavily, right? Taco Gaming, they said it is win this tournament or nothing. And so far, now they're going to have to make the really deep losers run in order to try and turn that around.
Okay, it looks like the final update. 19, 1, and 17, if I'm reading that right. I think that's what production is telling me for Pretty's stat line at the end of that series. Absolute insanity coming out from that player, and he's on Dignitas. So Immortals Progressive doing a really good job. I hate that I just did that. But a 2-0. I mean, echoing your sentiment, this was a series going into that there was a lot of uncertainty in my bracket that I filled out. I had Immortals Progressive taking it, but then all the hype around Taco Gaming, I started worrying. I started thinking, oh, did I make a mistake? Is this one of the upsets that we'll see where an amateur team, or even would we call it an upset if Taco Gaming get it based on the form that we saw them coming into Proving Grounds? But definitely still a lot to learn and a lot to, I think, focus on going into their lower bracket run. They do still have another life, so they're not out of Proving Grounds yet, and I do still look forward to seeing how they improve.
Yeah, and we got to remember what Chad was actually talking about, right? He's been saying that he's been watching a lot of the amateur scene, and he doesn't feel as though the amateur scene this year has been nearly as impressive as it was in 2021. He feels as though they spend a lot more time walking around and not doing quite as much, and Immortals should be able to punish them. And we definitely saw that. Well, Immortals was not quite as proactive as they could have been. They were definitely way more proactive than we've been seeing them previously in the regular season. They've been leveling up. They were never really pressured across this entire series, and that is the kind of thing that we love seeing from these teams that have so many resources to work at and have already been selected out of the amateur scene as players that they want to see move up. So Immortals, let's hope that they've continued to turn around. Maybe they can make the same kind of deep run like they did in spring.
I think that that's the expectation at this point based on how they've looked against the amateur teams. It is showing that while they did struggle a little bit in the regular season, this is Proving Grounds. Immortals Progressive. Final update, Austin, our socials guy, said 15, 1, and 19 was the stat line there from Pretty at the end. And after this short break, we'll actually have a chance to hear from Pretty himself for the post-series interview after this.
I'd say with amateur play, I actually think it's a bit worse. Last split I was watching actually pretty good amount of amateur, even being academy first split. This split's been a little less, but from the games I have watched, it kind of just like your head kind of hurts. Like you're watching for 5 minutes and the game seems simple. Like some team is up 6k gold holding a dragon objective, and then they just randomly leave river and give it up. So I don't know. I think it might actually be one of the worst seasons for amateur talent, and I mean, well, I guess we'll just see.
Welcome back, one and all. We're here at the Verizon post-game interview, and I've got Pretty, who is finishing up his taco meal here for the day after 2-0ing Taco Gaming, but as well as having his own taco. Is that just fitting? Did you guys, like, spitefully bring out the tacos? Like, we're going to win because we're eating your namesake now?
Sorry about that, by the way. I didn't mean to eat in the interview. So I finished 2 tacos already, so it was just the final one. I'm gonna finish it later.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Later, not now? Oh, okay, fine. No, but you did just come off a dominant 2-0 victory over Taco Gaming. You were saying in the lead up to the interview, felt easy from the draft. Can you talk to me a little bit about the prep going into this series against Taco Gaming? I know you guys didn't want to drop a game.
Yeah, it was very easy. They have like some players who are good on like a few champs, so especially on blue buff you have like more target bans. You have like there are a lot of like strong first picks that you need to care about on red, so your bans are a little bit more locked. But we just target ban those champs, made the draft easier for us, very more predictable. Like we knew that they like to play Karthus, so they like a lot of AD mids and tops, and we knew that would be annoying, so we just got the Karthus out, and they started playing like standard stuff, like Lysandra, Kindred, all of that, and the game is really easy for us because we're just a better team, we have better players, and yeah, as long as we kind of like don't get cheese, we knew that we're gonna win.
So, do you have any thoughts just off the top of your head on Shochi in the matchup you had in mid lane, guy coming up in the amateur scene?
I don't think he played well today, to be fair. I think he's like a very promising mid laner, and he has like a very big strength, which is like his champion pool. He just kind of plays everything. I was at the start of the season when I was screaming with the main team, and he was subbing in for me. I know they played a lot of like weird stuff, like action mid, and all of that. So that's like a big strength of his. But I think today he played really scared. I don't know why. I think all of them just played really scared. So the game ended up being released for us. But yeah, he's very promising, I would say.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Especially talk about the ease. My man, you went 15-1-19 in the series today. A performance to speak for itself a little bit, but I do want to hear your thoughts on it. Are you just unlocked on the Talia? Are you just feeling yourself right now in Proving Grounds to start it off? What is it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we're playing against easier teams to be fair, so no disrespect to them, but like I got Talia 3 out of 4 games, and yeah, I mean it's kind of free win when I get it. Like I don't want to be cocky, but if their coaches check their stats, they would be able to see that. But I think I'm feeling well. We're playing against amateur teams, so obviously their level is lower, and we are more prepared. We had better practice the whole split and stuff, so. I hope like we continue with this and we gain confidence from these games and we're gonna use them later on the tournament.
I want to talk about the structure for the team, though, especially with a bit of chaotic games where you guys just seem like you're calling picks left and right and finding those picks. What do you guys feel like you're developing as a whole in those kinds of moments, especially like communication structure?
I mean, right now we're working a lot on our mid game, cleaning it up. Like you could tell, especially from the first series, our mid games were very, very messy. And even though maybe it looked like we didn't know what we were doing, it was just like the details that we needed to fix, and it was much better today. Like we're trying to focus on that, like building habits, making the game easier for us to play in mid game. Everybody knowing the roles and knowing what we need to do at any point on the map without like having to talk about it that much. So we're kind of like in the process of that. We are improving fast on it. So I think by series you'll see that the games that we are ahead, they're gonna get cleaner and cleaner, and we're gonna show how good we actually are.
Hey, I'm all here for it. Speaking of getting cleaner and cleaner, do you have any thoughts for looking forward to the rest of Proving Grounds here as you've come off some nice victories?
I mean, for sure, we got very lucky because our first 3 games are against amateur. Well, our first game would always be against amateur since we finished 7th, but we are like because the 100 Thieves lost their game, we for sure have an easier opponent. Like not to say it will be easy at all. Like if they beat 100 Thieves, you know, they must be good as well, you know. But I mean, if you ask me, I would prefer to play against them than 100 Thieves, you know. So that's one thing. It's a bit weird that we play against like a lot of amateur teams and we have to adjust to the 50 ping environment when we play you know, Champions Queue with like 4 ping all the time. But you know, it's something you can get used to, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
So I think we got lucky with the bracket, and like the actual games that we need to care about are like next week's games. And if we get over AOE, then Cloud9, that would be like a big test for us against an academy team.
It will indeed. A stacked one to talk about it. But I do want to give you one last little bit. Give any shout outs. Anybody you want to talk about before we let you go, Pretty?
Shout out to my teammates, my coach, and my family who's watching. And just hope you keep supporting us, all of the fans as well. I hope you like how we play and you're gonna keep supporting us. That's all.
You keep playing like that, everybody's going to fall in love. Pretty. Thank you so much for the interview. We'll see you again soon, all right?
Thank you very much. See you guys.
All right. I'm going to bring back Kangas and Joshi.